Let's move to Shedeur Sanders, obviously the biggest story maybe of the rookie draft class. Probably, I would say easily the rookie draft class, maybe of the offseason at this point. Everybody's watching what he's going to do this season, but it's going to be Joe Flacco as the QB1 this year. And Shedeur Sanders might just be the QB3 for the Cleveland Browns at some point. Will we see him on the field, and will we see him start for the Cleveland Browns this year?
It'll definitely be an uphill battle, at least like relative to the competition that he has. I think that Kenny Pickett is currently listed as the QB2, and then Dylan Gabriel the QB3, and then Shedeur right behind. Yeah, that's from the latest Browns depth chart.
Discounting Kenny Pickett there.
Yeah, I don't really see Kenny Pickett being a huge part of this offense either, but I do think that Joe Flacco, being a 40-year-old quarterback in the NFL, will miss some time at some point throughout the season. I just can't see a world where Joe Flacco makes it all 17 games in an NFL season at this point in his career. And even if he was able to stay healthy throughout the course of an NFL season, I just can't imagine that the Cleveland Browns are going to win very many games, and they probably want to see what they have in two of their rookie quarterbacks. So I could definitely see a world where towards the end of the season, the Browns are already eliminated, and they just throw Shedeur in, or maybe not Kenny Pickett, but Dylan Gabriel in first, and then see what they have with Shedeur. But I think that he definitely makes at least a start, more likely 2 or 3 towards the end of the season, especially because I don't think that the Browns are going to be even relatively competitive, especially in that division with the Bengals, the Ravens, everybody in that division.
So last year at the quarterback position, there was a little bit more stability than, maybe the Cleveland Browns organization is used to. You had Deshaun Watson for the first part, Jameis Winston for the second part, Dorian Thompson-Robinson also a little bit in that as well. But before that, the Cleveland Browns had 5 starters in 1 year in 2023 and plenty more also in 2022. So there's going to be multiple starters this year for the Browns. I think that that's definitely a guarantee just based off of, like you said, Joe Flacco, 40-year-old QB1, probably not going to be something that's going to last from week 1 to week 18. And then at the same point, this team is probably not going to be very good. Like, I think they got pieces, which is really nice for the Browns. They got a great defense, but like at a certain point, I don't know who's projecting them to be a playoff team, especially in that division. So yeah, I'm gonna go in and say Shedeur Sanders is gonna start a game. I don't think Kenny Pickett will start. I think that there would be a scenario where if Joe Flacco does go down, and I don't even think this is all the way directed or directly correlated to him getting injured, but if he does go down in the middle of a game, I think that's Kenny Pickett to just finish off that game. I don't think they want to throw either of those QBs in, especially with everything around in the media in the middle of a game. And then I think they assess where Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are as far as that 3 or 4 on their depth chart or whoever they like the most at that point in the season. And then they throw them out and they start whoever they think is better at that point. I think maybe right now, I guess, based off of the depth chart, and it looks like Dylan Gabriel would be that guy. I'm a little bit – I think it could be Shedeur Sanders by like week 3 in that case. Like, I think he's really right there. I liked how he played in the preseason. I thought he was better than Dylan Gabriel. I saw Dylan Gabriel at the Senior Bowl. I think he's a really talented college player. I just don't know if he's got all of the abilities to overcome just the size and the lack of arm strength in some of the cases that he has just yet. Maybe he can eventually, but I think as far as his rookie year is going, I think he's got to sit a full year before we could see what he can do in the NFL. I think Shedeur Sanders is more ready to play in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with anything that you just said, and I just feel like with all the media coverage that's come with Shedeur Sanders and the ups and downs of his career, I kind of just I wasn't a big fan of him at Colorado, and I think that he definitely has maybe some character flaws, but I think that I just want to see him win at this point. Like it feels like everyone's kind of beating up on him. All the media questions are there's constant media coverage of him, and the questions are almost all negative. Like, why do you think you're throwing to practice squad guys during your workouts, like all these different questions, and just kind of being a guy when he's down, especially after the draft clearly didn't go the way you wanted to. I wasn't really high on him going into the draft, but I would like to see him start a couple games and just see what he has, because I mean that division, just the AFC in general, was so stacked at the quarterback position that if not fighting for the quarterback 1 job, he's going to be fighting to just stay alive in that conference, in that division. But I mean, I want to see it work out, and if not for Shedeur Sanders, hopefully Dylan Gabriel can make the most of the opportunity opportunity that he gets. But I'm excited to see what they both bring to the field, because it will definitely be an interesting quarterback room. And I think that Joe Flacco is kind of a cop-out answer to start the season, because there's just no way that he finishes it. Like, they'll have to make a decision between the two at some point.
Yeah, I don't think there was a world where it would have been anybody other than Joe Flacco. And I think you're right about the media stuff with Shedeur Sanders. I think he's becoming a player that a lot of people want to root for, especially because at a certain point you've like paid your dues for being, the son of, your coach, Hall of Famer, best cornerback, in my opinion, ever in NFL history. Like, at a certain point, you've paid the Nepo baby price of all of this negative media coverage. And you got to look at it and say, like, well, what is this guy really doing wrong? I mean, and I hate to even have this bar like that's so low for NFL players, but like, you got a lot of other dudes who have done a lot worse off the field than this guy. And it's just essentially, he's just got his media stuff going. He's got all those connections in the social media sphere, and he's got all these brand deals, endorsements, and he paid his price. He, dropped to the 5th round for whatever, cause. Some teams weren't interested. Some teams had other guys higher on their board. Other teams maybe didn't like the pre-draft interview process. Eric Dickerson apparently just said, he just told Albert Breer that apparently he had heard that NFL teams were told not to draft him. Who knows what at all of any of this is true, but I definitely think that this is partially in the past now. It's just about what he can do on the field, and he played well in the preseason, and he's going to have some pieces around him as far as the Browns are concerned. You got Jerry Jeudy out there, so you're going to have some tools to work with. I think he's going to be a player that a lot of people are going to root for. And honestly, I see there being a point this year in an NFL regular season game that he starts, that he plays well in. I don't know if it'll be against a division opponent. And maybe the Bengals defense.
Bengals, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, maybe the Bengals defense. I mean, hey, if the Browns and the Bengals go through a shootout, that would be the greatest thing for Shedeur Sanders. I don't want him to start his first game against the Steelers or the Ravens, though. Yeah. That would, that just feels, that's always a bloodbath. Don't want that for him. But at any point, I think we're going to see him, and I think he's going to play well.